Penguins come in and name the tune of the hockey game as the Flyers fall 4-1 in a very important game. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Patrick Lynn, and welcome back to the channel as the Flyers fall to the Pittsburgh Penguins 4-1. They cannot gain any ground on the Penguins in the playoff push, and they lose, and they cannot jump over the Detroit Red Wings, who play tonight in Florida. So all Flyers fans need to be paying attention to that game. Hopefully, Florida can come out and beat the Red Wings, and the Flyers can stay 1 point behind. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Patrick Lynn, and welcome back to the channel. This is the Orange and Black Attack. Let's get into this game. Had the feel of a playoff game early. Bunch of chippiness in the first period. No scoring happened. Back and forth. Chris Letang got away with a cross check, which would come back later in the game, as he would get cross checked by a Flyer, and they called the penalty. The referees were horrible in this game. They were in the way most of the afternoon. Pucks were hitting them. And then with everything that was going on, they pulled a Steve Harvey at the end of this game. But let's get into this. No scoring in the first period. But the Flyers do strike first in the second period with about 2 minutes gone, as Radko Gudas again throws the puck to the net, and it finds its way, and the Flyers take a 1-0 lead, and that's when the hockey game would change, as Pittsburgh would come in and they would dominate the rest of this hockey game. They named the tune in the hockey game, as first Trevor Daley gets the Penguins on the board with a wrist shot past Steve Mason. Michael Neuwirth was supposed to be the starting goaltender in this hockey game, but he came out for warmups, and then he told Hackstall that he wasn't feeling right. I don't know if he's sick or if he's not feeling if he's got an injury. But Steve Mason was supposed to be the backup in this game, but I don't think it would have mattered even if Mason was the starter. If Neuwirth was the starter, Pittsburgh just named the tune of this hockey game. Not less than 2 minutes later, after the Trevor Daley goal, Carl Hagelin gets a blast past Mason as it's 2-1 Pittsburgh, and they would continue to just dominate after that. A little bit later on, puck gets bounced off by Chris Kunitz. He bounces it off the boards, and it bounces off of new Steve Mason's skate, and it goes into the net. And it's a 3-1 Penguins lead going into the third period, and the Flyers they had no jump in this game. They came out flat. They just couldn't do anything. They had a grand total of 17 shots throughout the game, and that was the lowest that they've had all season long. Pittsburgh, going into the third period, Pittsburgh just clamped down and they stopped the Flyers uh, from the get go, and then they would cap it off with an empty net goal. And this is where the referees pull a Steve Harvey. It looked like Chris Letang kicked the puck in, and the original call on the ice was that the Letang kicked the puck in. Toronto calls down. Pittsburgh, the referees look at it. The ref comes out, and his original call was puck was kicked in. Well, 5 seconds later, he changes his call, and it's a good goal. This is some horse shit. All right. You got to get, I understand you're talking to people on a microphone, but you got to, get your shit together, okay? You need to get your shit together on that. The referees in this game were horrible. First off, they missed a cross check from Letang on a Flyer, and then they finally called a cross check again, which was the same exact play, but they call it on the Flyers on Michael Raffl. If you be consistent at least. I mean, Letang's cross check earlier in the game looked more worse than Raffl's cross check later in the game. If you're going to call penalties, at least call it consistent, you jackasses. But the Flyer, the Flyers, it probably wouldn't have mattered anyway. The Flyers couldn't do anything on the power play. They couldn't do anything. They came out flat. They got the first goal, and they just couldn't build off the momentum. They left the foot off the gas, and just Pittsburgh just dominated. Now the Flyers play Pittsburgh 2 more times this year, but 2 times in the last week of the season. Hopefully those are meaningful games. But the Flyers had a chance to build off their huge win on Wednesday night against Chicago, and they couldn't do it. my 3 stars of the game. Chris Letang, he played wonderful in this game for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm going to give him some credit. He's actually one of the few Penguins I don't hate. He played wonderful. He was blocking shots. He played wonderful defensively, and he scored the open net goal. He is the reason why he's my number 1 star is because he just played wonderful in this game. Carl Hagelin gets the second star for his game winning blast. It was a nice little blast. And Radko Gudas continues to play well for the Flyers. He's my 3rd star. He got a goal in this game. He continues to throw pucks at the net, and he was strong defensively. But the Flyers just couldn't do anything in this game. They came out flat, and now I mean it's just it is what it is. It came out flat. It really just came out flat in this game. Um, Here are your goal scorers. No goals in the first period. Second period, Radko Gudas gets on the board for the Flyers. Trevor Daley, Carl Hagelin, and Chris Kunitz for the Penguins in the second period, and Chris Letang with the game win with the empty netter in the third period as the Flyers fall 4-1. Now the Flyers head on the road. They have a 4-game road trip coming up starting Monday as they head to Brooklyn to take on the New York Islanders. That is at 7:30 on Comcast Sportsnet. Then they head to Columbus on Tuesday night, another back-to-back for the Flyers as they head to Columbus, 7 o'clock on Comcast Sportsnet. Thursday night next week, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time as they play the Colorado Avalanche. That's on Comcast Sportsnet. And next Saturday, 10 o'clock start against the Arizona Coyotes on the Comcast Network. A lot of late night games. I don't like late night games, but fortunately I'm on my vacation from work, so I'll be able to stay up and watch all those games. Monday night may be a little tough because I work that night because I'm taking my vacation, but the Flyers have to turn around. Monday night at 7:30 against the New York Islanders on Comcast Sportsnet at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. That's 4:30 for those on the West. Division rivals. Now the Islanders are now in the wild card spot. The Flyers are 5 points behind them because Pittsburgh vaulted the Islanders with Pittsburgh's win tonight. But Flyers lose again, 4-1 to the Penguins. The Penguins just named the tune of the hockey game, as the late great Gene Hart would say. And also, as the late great Gene Hart would say, and as I say at the end of my episodes, good night and good hockey.